Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to KQ. My name is Kevlon,
And I'm Ken.
and we're coming to you once again from the mean streets of Montgomery, Alabama. This is where all of the good stuff happened back in the day that made things possible for us today. So we just thankful for those that traipsed in the steps and actually took a risk and stood for equality and stood for caring for people on an individual basis and sacrifice for it more than anybody in our history. So thank you so much for our brothers.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Speaking of
Thank you.
speaking of our brothers, everybody, there's a crisis at hand. There's an election upcoming, and we only have a certain amount of time. Okay, we only have a certain amount of time. What we're hearing from a lot of different people around us, and there's a lot of different reasons why, once again, is that they're so totally disenchanted by the Biden administration.
And it's kind of weird because I don't know why. I mean, of course, I pay attention to what's happening in the news. I pay attention to the legislations that they put forward. I take notes on who voted yay, who voted nay, who is this legislation intended to help, how much help would it provide. I'm kind of in the weeds on these things. And it's very rare when any policy put forward whatsoever from the right wing administration. It's very rare when it equates to helping anybody else. I have seen on occasion there's been some bipartisan efforts put forward when it was like obvious and they pushed it together or whatever, where they had a team of Republicans and Democrats and they, fixed some stuff that needed to be fixed. However, on the other hand, still typically the Republicans still voted against those. It's like it has to be a Democrat majority in the House or the Senate to put forward any legislation, meaningful legislation that moves the purse strings towards the anybody less than the upper class. So the Republicans are very good at pushing money towards the top. Democrats, in my opinion, and based on the charts and the numbers that we're going to show you today, the Democrats are good at pushing money and effort towards the Democrats or towards regular folks and not towards the top.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and it's very stark. We have a whole lot of history. I mean, just simply the history of my lifetime, about the last 50 years, about a half a century.
Yeah.
It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it always leans, yeah, go ahead and show them a chart or two right quick.
Let's just see what right. So this chart, this comes from Wikipedia. It's very sourceable information. But this just goes through and shows you how well the Democrats have done versus the Republicans. Again, y'all, we have a choice. We only have two parties. So let's go ahead and examine them and pick the best one. If you don't pick the best one, if you pick the worst one, then you're doing something that's detrimental to you and to the rest of us. Don't drag us down with you, please. Don't pick the wrong one. Pick a better one than the worst one.
Right.
But which party has presided over 115 million jobs created since 1945? The Democrats have presided over that in terms of the presidency. The U.S. has experienced recessions in 50 years. 50 quarters since 1949. Who was in charge? So who was in charge of the last 50 recessions since 1949? Excuse me. As you can see, the Republicans are responsible for the executive branch, the presidency, during all of those recessions compared to the Democrats. Factors happened in both of these that caused recessions and jobs growth slowing down. But at the same time, the aggregate is what it is. So on its face, you can see which one handles it better. Results are results. There ain't no way you can flip this and change it and say, well, this happened or so-and-so said this, so it screwed it up. No, this is the results. And going over the results here, clearly there's a distinct advantage that the Democrats have in terms of, those two metrics. These are just two metrics. We got multiple more, but we're going to make the case that it's unequivocal, that there's a reason why people decide to go for the Democratic Party outright versus being agnostic and not knowing what to do.
Right. Yeah.
The next thing, so just to kind of give you just a quick rundown on how this is going to go. We just went over the recession. How do you handle the economy in as far as recessions and job creation? Jobs in economics, that's one thing. We got education, that's another. We got healthcare, that's another. These are major factors that contribute to the health and success of a society. And we're looking at those because these are things that you can measure. They're things that you can really dig into the policies that caused it to happen this way. And we're not just sitting here talking about how we feel about a particular party. We're showing you actually what happened during the Democratic administration. 40 million Americans so far, as of early 2023, have benefited from the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. This is 40 million people that did not have health care before Obamacare was enacted that have health care today. Clearly, we would rather a society before more people having health care. Right. What are you not getting? This same bill, the Republicans tried to vote down 70 times. They failed each time, but they did it during the Obama administration largely and into the Trump administration. They kept voting over and over and over to take health care from 40 million Americans because it makes Obama look good. It makes the Democrats look good. That's just what they did. They did that. I'm not saying it and making it up. You can go in. The last time they tried it was during the Trump administration when John McCain came in with the thumbs down. We talked about this before. This is a fact.
Right. Yeah, John McCain saved it. One of very few Republicans that voted against taking down the Affordable Care Act.
And before we move on, Merry Christmas, y'all. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I was wondering when you was going to use the prop.
I just wanted to tell y'all, we thank you for joining, and we definitely appreciate everybody that tunes in. But this is a special festive year. We've had a marvelous year here in the United States of America. Anybody that wants a job can get a job. We've had decreases in student loan debt. We've had decreases in families going bankrupt because of Medicare, prescription drug costs. We've had a good year in terms of our unemployment. We've had a great year in terms of our GDP growth. Like gas prices have gone down dramatically.
Stock market way up. My 401k, bing, bing. Ding, ding. I can get the 2 thumbs up on there. Oh, yeah. We like that 401k, baby. One day I might get to use it.
Yes, indeed. And we're no longer spending $300 million a day over in Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah. That was
by the way, another month went by and we ain't spent hundreds of millions of dollars in Afghanistan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That saves a pretty penny. That might be where they got their infrastructure money from.
No, they took that in taxes. They went after the big
yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they started taxing them for doing stock buybacks.
They started taxing them like they tax nurses.
Oh, man.
Okay, so next thing we're gonna show you real quick. We're gonna just skip through these. Ain't no big deal. You know, I know, like I said, people they want to express opinions about political viewpoints, but they don't really know enough information to even opine on why they're picking and choosing to be a non-picker.
Right. No information, but feeling.
I feel like the Democrats just as bad as the Republicans.
Feeling.
I feel like Joe Biden too old for me.
Feeling.
What are some of the main talking points that the Afro-MAGAs use?
Okay, so they say the economy was booming during the Trump administration. False. All right, y'all forget about the big C word that nobody likes to talk about that much. But yeah, we were in dire straits. No, I think it was
canker sores.
That Rona. It was the Rona.
Oh,
they had that Rona. So
mismanagement of the Rona.
However, the economy was already in decline prior to coronavirus kicking off.
We were in a manufacturing recession in 2019.
Yeah,
go and look it up.
Before coronavirus hit.
Before it even tapped into us.
And unemployment was at a pretty decent number.
And Trump was handed a Rolls Royce. He turned it into a Volkswagen.
Immediately.
Just like the last Republican that did it.
Yeah, Bush. Yeah, it goes. That's how it goes. It goes like that every single time. It'll go one way then back to the other. And y'all can ignore that. But they say that that's a problem. They think that okay, and then they say Joe Biden ain't done nothing for black folks, and y'all keep voting for Democrats, and the Democrats don't ever give you no reparation check, and so
if you don't get a reparation check, then that means don't vote for the Democrats. So how in the world could they possibly put Republicans up there? Because they know good and well they ain't getting no reparation from no Republicans.
Then they go, well, I ain't saying I was a Republican. I ain't going there. Now, I ain't saying I'm a Republican.
Well, which one out of them two you gonna pick?
But I'm just not gonna be a Democrat because Democrats say that that's the only thing I can be because I'm black. Y'all didn't hear Joe Biden say he's black, so you gonna vote Democrat. They expect your vote.
What's another talking point?
And then they say the economy.
Joe
Biden. And then they say the way the Democrats do with the gay people.
Yeah, they say they think the Democrats are too lenient. So the premise is that the federal government should be able to reach down from Washington, D.C. and tell you what you're going to do and how you're going to live and how you orient it inside yourself and what you think about yourself or what you think and how you, whatever you feel about that. The federal government need to reach in and tell them to stop.
Who you need to do it with and all of that stuff. Yeah, because
but they for small government?
Yeah, their argument on it has no voice and it has no legs whatsoever without government backing. Simply because when you think about it, the way that black folks have been done wrong all them years and everything, hundreds of years after we supposedly were supposed to be given freedom and everything, with the government backing, they were allowed to continue to oppress people. And it was justifiable because, you can go out and a white man can commit a crime against a black man. And eventually when they come out of court, the black man's the one getting hung. So, and nobody was going to say anything. They consistently let people off for doing horrible crimes the whole while. And it's like, if you want to promote that type of mentality toward any of the American citizens, whether they choose a separate lifestyle from yours or choose a separate religion or any type of way of life, if you want to chastise them and use the government to come down on them for their own personal wants and desires and beliefs and everything, well, then how could you tell the government not to do that to you?
They saying the Christians are under attack right now, and I happen to be a Christian, by the way, a proud Christian. We both are.
2 thumbs up.
And I don't feel like nobody's attacking me, but they're saying that the Christians are under attack right now. But at the same time, they justify attacking other. When I say attacking, whenever you use your public platform and public policy to enact inconveniences to a particular group of people because of whatever group that they are in or whatever group you associate them with, then that's by definition oppression. So we want to keep the federal government from doing that. And just show me where the Democrats lean in on coming down on people, regular ordinary people. The federal government just reaching down to just drag somebody through the mud who's done nothing wrong. I mean that doesn't happen. And when I say nothing wrong, it's not. It may be wrong to you what they do, but that doesn't mean it's wrong in the eyes of the federal government. You see, there's the difference.
Yeah, and y'all want the government to back you as your goon and hating somebody. Well, if you want the government to have that type of power, well, get ready because, boy, they don't like you.
Well, so we're going to go back to the quick snippets. We're going to breeze through these, y'all. This ain't going to be too long. Conservative groups asked federal government court to block Biden's student loan forgiveness. So Biden ain't did nothing for black people. Biden ain't did nothing for nobody. Well, Biden actually tried to give, he tried to put up $39 billion in student loan forgiveness to over 800,000 borrowers. This thing was down to the wire. It almost got, the funding had almost got released. It was a day before, and a federal court blocked it and said that he didn't have the constitutional power to do it. And they picked the loophole, and they picked that, the courts, when they decide, they can decide on whatever premise of the law they want to. They picked one, and they stuck their neck into the administration and said, you can't give these people student loan forgiveness. Now, they don't stick their neck in and say, you can't give subsidies to oil companies. You can't give tax breaks to billionaires over the American people to make them pay for it, But they jumped in here, and the Republicans had them do it. They jumped in here and stopped him forgiving student loans. And it's a lot of black people that I know that refused to sign up for the Democratic Party. They said, well, he promised that he was going to Give us student loan relief. What happened to that? Huh? What happened to that? See, he ain't doing nothing for nobody. Well, the Republicans blocked it. And if you quit putting Republicans in office, then they won't be blocking this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it'll just fly right through.
But after that happened, guess what Biden did? He came right back and he announced another $5 billion in additional student debt relief. Now, he had already done student debt relief outside of this particular plan that they blocked that would have given the most student debt relief. But he did some other ancillary things, and this was one of them. He came right back and he pushed out, I think it was $132 billion in loan forgiveness. It's unparalleled, I mean, this is the type of thing that they're doing to help middle and lower income people who are struggling paying bills to cope with their bills. One that cannot be discharged in bankruptcy. Student loan can't be discharged in bankruptcy. You can do your car, you can do your even your child support, but you can't do this. Now, here we have a quick rundown of the House dysfunction. Now, this is another thing that you'll notice. Every time that the Democrats are in office, they're run by someone who is extremely proficient, extremely great at pushing forth legislation that is designed to help middle and lower income people over and over and over. It happens all the time. But this House, only 27 laws enacted since they got in 2021. No, 2022, right? Yeah, 2022. Over this last year, 27 laws enacted. The average is like 236.
Yeah.
And then they had a frenzy of activity. Despite the low number of bills, the House has saw a frenzy of activity on the floor that included numerous votes for numerous speaker candidates, 19 of them across 2 different elections to get a speaker. They couldn't even do, they had a frenzy of votes on that. Amendments and appropriations bills that ultimately did not pass, failed in successful votes on censuring Democratic lawmakers, just stuff. And they get into these culture wars and get people riled up about how you feel about a particular thing that you don't even do.
Right. Yeah. Don't make it nothing.
Ain't major nothing, won't make you nothing. And then if you look at just, all you have to do, I think I typed in for this one, Biden's accomplishments as president or something like that. And then you can pull up a thing and it can list for you all of the different things that they've done. And it's numerous. They're numbered. Each one of these are things that this administration has actually done. And this is just what this guy's plucked out. This one particular dude. But these are things that literally can help you. The American Rescue Plan protected workers, provided funding to communities and business devastated by COVID-19, lowered or eliminated insurance premiums for millions of lower and middle income families, provided funds for affordable housing, and he does these things without increasing the deficit dramatically. Like his rate of increase of the deficit is much low. Like he's decreased the deficit since becoming president. That's the yearly amount that you bring in versus the amount that you spend. And the debt has increased, but it is increased at a much lower rate than it increased under the previous president, Benedict Donald. $40 billion for investing in American workers, $1 trillion infrastructure bill. This bill right here takes away lead pipes and
brings internet to the rural communities.
Internet to rural communities. I mean, can't beat that. This is what you want. And a lot of this stuff happened in red areas. So he don't care about whether you're a Republican or Democrat. You're getting stuff put in your area that's going to help. And these things build jobs. They create jobs. I mean, it's overwhelming. And we had an infrastructure week every week under Trump. I mean, it's not close. Unemployment rate, 3.5%. The GDP was at 5.2% last quarter.
Wow. Ain't no telling what it's going to be after Christmas.
He signed a bill to help veterans who have been suffering from the effects of burn pits. I'll remind you, when they were putting this bill up, the Republicans knocked it down the first time in the Senate. And y'all remember Jon Stewart, when his diatribe going off on these people about the PACT Act, and he sat here and cried, and then they ended up doing a revote and they passed it because he embarrassed them so bad. I mean, it's unreal the difference. And then you have in his budget tax on stock buybacks.
Yeah. Stock buybacks are a horrible thing. That is when a company they take the profits from the company and then they use it to buy their own stocks, which artificially inflates the value of the stock. Which so let's say for instance the stock is worth, we'll just say $1, and then they take their own profits from this company and dump it back in, and it makes the value of the stock go up to $3. Well, the investors who invested had that first 1%. Now they get dividend checks back, the big time investors, not just like for people with 401ks and stuff like that, but they get big time money back. They're not using the money for research and development. They're just using the money to buy their own stocks to make it look like their company is increasing every year when actually it's not.
It's like during the time when they had the tax plan that the Trump put in place, where they cut $2 trillion in taxes over, I think, a 2-year period, something like that. They had stock buybacks increase to a record number at that time. So businesses said, since you're going to cut our corporate taxes by 30%, which all of the money flows to the top under Republicans every single time. But they said, since you're going to give us that kind of break, well, we'll just go and spend $1 trillion on stock buyback. So there's $1 trillion of the tax bill that me and you are still paying for, that tax.
Yeah, the tax giveaway.
Oh,
yeah, they use that.
They use that for stock buybacks.
When they buy the stocks back, it makes the stocks go up, which makes the CEO himself now he's worth billions.
Biden said, if y'all gonna keep doing these stock buybacks, at least we're gonna tax you on them.
Yeah.
So that's gonna bring federal, and the money that they collect from this, they'll specifically allocate that money to go to lower or middle income people for things like child care.
Yeah, fixing the freaking railways so these trains don't derailing every other week.
So
yeah.
Just know that this thing is not close, y'all. It's not.
It's not even close at all.
If it is, tell me. Put a comment in and tell me where it is that the Democrats are failing.
Yeah, where are they failing, and where were the Republicans so your best friend? And if you're saying that, well, I'm not Republican, and maybe I might just go Green Party. Cornel West is not the man. Is all I'm trying. I mean, he's good. I mean, I've listened to him and I agree with him on a whole lot of fronts. But as far as his hate tactic, which is what he's promoting as his platform, hate Joe Biden, don't vote for the Democrats because they don't appreciate your vote.
Yeah. Even though they've been getting your vote for a reason, the fact that the black percentage of people that vote for Biden is higher than any other demographic, it means that black people are voting purposefully because they're all focused on, avoiding catastrophe again. And to just delegitimize all of those people and just say, well, they're just stooges. They're just running behind the Democrats. Oh, yeah, they're getting food. Okay, so how is not voting for a party that literally is trying to take down our democratic experiment, voting against that party is being a stooge now?
I don't get it. But then again, I'm in the weeds. All I can tell you is Wikipedia something. Look something up.
Yeah, look it up.
Google it.
It's not close.
All right. Get down, KQ. We're going to leave you with some music.
I hope everybody wakes up. We only have a certain amount of time before the election. Godspeed to everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And God loves you all.
Good night.
Want to take you a doodly do, can you dig it? And all I wanna do is just listen to you. KQ Policy 72, can you dig it? Want to take you Can you dig it?
And all I wanna do, you wish just listening to you. Take you by the distance if you need to dig it.
Can you dig it?
KQ.